she's got to release whatever tapes and transcripts there are of these meetings. Why is she keeping it secret? Well, maybe because she was reassuring these groups that what she's going to say on the campaign trail is quite different than what she would do if she ever got in office.
So you don't think she's going to do anything like rein in Wall Street and keep drug prices in check, all the things that she's basically been selling?
Well, why should we believe it? I mean, she supported a lot of concessions to these industries by Bill Clinton.
Yeah.
And she wasn't very forthcoming in the Senate on these issues. But she keeps saying, I want to make very clear, I want to make very clear. It's the usual difference between political rhetoric and political deed. And I think a lot of people see that Bernie Sanders is more authentic in saying what he means and meaning what he says.
Right.
Well, do you think, Ralph, it's Dagan McDowell, do you think that the country would really be better off? I'm just going to, with Bernie Sanders' policies, I'm going to point out he wants Medicare for all, but we have Medicare right now. People love it because they get so much medical care, and there's a roughly $40 trillion unfunded liability in Medicare, and it's going to go broke in a little more than a decade. That's the thing that if Hillary wants to hit back on the cost of it, why didn't she do that?
Well, nothing's more efficient than single payer. That's been shown in Canada and Japan and Western Europe. Canada covers everybody for about $4,500 per capita. We're spending over $9,000 per capita, and there are tens of millions of people without coverage or under coverage. So he can make a much stronger case. And also, single payer, that is, the government is the full insurer, and there's private delivery of health care, allows people to have a free choice of doctor and hospital, not those ever-tightening networks that infuriate people.
Yes, but for it to make financial sense, though, you ultimately have to have the government tell the American people, which it yet does not do with Medicare, because that's why it's going broke, tell them what they can and cannot have in terms of medical services. Ultimately, the government's going to have to tell them how long they can live.
No, well, that's true in every system. Aetna does it. United Healthcare does it. I mean, insurance companies are so overburdened with administrative costs because they spend a lot of time denying care, driving people crazy. And then there's the co-pays, and there's the deductions.
Right.
See, so the key thing here, if we're talking about disclosure, which I think the media is interested in, and the media really has to have a higher estimate of its own significance here. It cannot be dragged down to the level of grunts and slurs and attacks in the Republican camp. It's got to have a higher estimate of its own significance to give people a right to know. In that respect, Donald Trump brags about his business acumen and success, but he has not released his voluminous tax returns. He told Chuck Todd he's working on it, but I think he's delaying and delaying. And I think that is a very, very important thing for the press to demand. Release your tax returns. You don't have to legally, but if you're going to brag about your business experience as an asset to go to the White House, you better tell people in thousands of pages over the years what you've been doing.
Well, it's interesting that a lot of these issues didn't even come up last night. I mean, you talk about jobs and the economy, that no real conversation on that last night at the debate, and no conversation about this email and Clinton Foundation.
That's right. The whole
so talk about the press. Go ahead.
Yeah, the book Clinton Cash, which documented and was written up in the New York Times about a year ago. Clinton Cash talks about this quadrangle: the Clinton Foundation, huge speech fees for Bill Clinton, mining magnates and dictatorships abroad, facilities by the State Department. That is a big issue. But you know, I'll bet you everybody on this stage, right where you are right now, could have predicted almost every question that was asked. The two questioners didn't really ask the questions that the candidates were not prepared to answer. And so it was very redundant debate, however civil it was.
Yeah. Real quick, what is the Michael Bloomberg element in all of this?
Well, this is very important. I've spoken to him in the past about it. He keeps saying he's not going to run unless he sees space enough where he can win. And I don't know whether there's going to be space enough, and time is running. You know, you can't delay too long to set up a ground game in every state. He can get on the ballot in almost every state because he has the money to do so. But I don't know. My guess is that he's not going to run.
Real quick, can he win, Megan?
It's tricky. I don't know. I think he's a lot more liberal than people realize. All the nanny state stuff in New York will come back and get him. I mean, he's very anti-gun.
Yeah.
Even for me, this isn't the kind of candidate I can get behind for a third party.
Ralph Nader, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Maria.
We'll see
Thank
you soon,
everybody
sir.
else.
Thank you. Don't
Yep.
forget.